Next on Murfreesboro Storytellers, we present Read to Succeed, a very important literacy program that's available for Murfreesboro and Rutherford County. This month for the Murfreesboro Storyteller series, we're pleased to feature Read to Succeed, a very important program having to do with literacy here in our community. As our guest this month, we're pleased to have Lisa Mitchell, who is Executive Director of Read to Succeed. Welcome, Lisa. Good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having us.
We have Shelley Stanley, our Adult Literacy Program Director, and Sarah Porterfield, who is the Family Literacy Coordinator. Read to Succeed, how long has this been in existence?
Well, John, we're getting ready to have our 10th anniversary, so we're very proud of being able to serve the community for that long.
What a wonderful program. What can be more important to any of us than to be able to read and to be able to understand?
Can't think of a thing. It touches every single aspect of our lives.
And how did it come about as far as an organized program?
Well, I think some very smart people, of which I wasn't a part because I've just been with the organization about 2 years, got together, saw the need, and through some generosity from Jennings and Rebecca Jones Foundation and some others, we were able to get it started, and through lots of other community involvement and partnerships and grants, we've been able to keep it going these past 10 years.
You have a number of outstanding programs that take place during the year, one of which I believe is Unplug and Read. Tell us how that works.
Yeah, that's one that sometimes, folks that aren't that familiar with our programs, have to have a little extra explanation. But that is just an awareness that we want to focus on. We do it every February, about the middle of February, and so we've just wrapped it up, and just an awareness that we want to do every year to remind people to get away from those cell phones and computers, and sit down with your family and enjoy a book and have that family time and those discussions. And it's branched out over the past few years to where businesses are getting involved and doing book drives, and schools are doing different things with their students. And so we've been real proud that so many people are seeing that need to where we're plugged in 24/7, and to kind of get away from that and focus back on something that's important, and that being reading.
So literally you're asking people to unplug, or at least turn off, or don't turn on.
Exactly.
And leave the video, the TV, everything else alone, and read.
And we have an opportunity, and it'll come around again next year, to where they can go to our website and pledge the amount that they're going to read, how many hours. And every year that has continually gone up to where we had several hundred hours pledged this year that people did exactly what we asked them to do and unplugged and read.
Do you feature a particular book anytime during the year that people should read?
We absolutely do. I'm sitting here holding it. This year's one book community read is The Fault in Our Stars. We have a wonderful one book committee that works very, very hard. The members of that change from year to year. This year we have just a wonderful group that read a lot of books and then chose this book. It is a very easy read. It is, the storyline has a tendency when you first explain it to someone to sound like something that people wouldn't want to read, because it's about two teenagers that meet each other through a cancer support group, which sounds extremely depressing. But I tell everyone, this is not a book about dying. It is a book about living and learning to live every day. And it's about so many other things, family relationships and teenagers, and just it's a really good book. We're doing a book crossing. They are available in many sites around town. Sarah, you want to share what some of those sites are?
Well, thanks to Ingram Content Group, because they donate these books to us every year. So we spread them out throughout the community. There's not the things in here. I know they're at Jazara's Coffee Shop. They're at Starbucks on Church Street. They're here at the library. We have them Pa Bunks on the square. We are also just passing them out to council members and board members and asking them to share. And we ask everyone, once they're finished with it, to share it with someone else. And then we ask them to go to our website, readtosucceed.org, and tell us what they thought. And so each year that has grown, and already every day we get a new comment with someone saying how much they love the book. And Parents are reading it with their teenagers, which is always what we like to hear, that the family's reading together.
We weren't sure how that program would work with, just putting out free books and asking them to bring them back when they were finished. But it amazingly, they're coming back in and going back out, and it's been great to watch that happen. I was a little skeptical when the committee came up with that.
Yeah, we started it last year.
Yeah, but anybody that can't find one of them out in the community, they can always give us a call, and we'll get a copy in their hands.
So Ingram Corporation furnishes the books for this particular purpose?
Ingram Content Group donated most of them. Barnes & Noble helps us out too, and then through some funding and grants, we're able to purchase some more. So it's a combination.
With computerization and digitalization, if that's the correct word, do more and more people get away from the printed book, and do they still read as much or more?
I
How does
think
that affect the
all three of us have an e-reader, and it was a great novelty when we first got it. And I do read some on my e-reader, but there's just something about holding a book. And we have tried to keep up with the statistics with the library and others of how many are downloading the book and reading it on e-readers as well as the actual book. I think it's different for every person, but reading is reading. So we don't care whether it's on an e-reader or an actual book, but it's e-readers are certainly nice for traveling, where you can take 20 books with you all on one unit, but there's just something about turning those pages and holding that book.
Well, that's my sentiments exactly. I wonder if I'm just old-fashioned.
No, I think the rest of us are the same way.
I don't have one. Nope.
It took me a while to finally buy one.
Sarah, you work particularly with the families, getting the families together to read together.
Yes.
And how does that operate? Do you have particular gatherings that families come meet together?
Well, we work with county and city schools to offer family literacy programs each semester. So schools will come to us and request the program. At times we've gone to schools and asked them if they wanted to do a program with us. We work with MTSU education classes. So they are assigned to a school, and they spend their entire semester planning and working on a particular book. And then we bring them into the school for either a family literacy night, which is just a one session, or we have 4 sessions of a program called Families That Read Succeed. So it's usually one MTSU education student to one family. And they work on the book together, they read it aloud, because the read aloud portion is so critical. And they do like an activity, and they work on phonemic awareness, and then they all go home with a copy of the book that they studied every single night. So the thing about that program that we always try to make sure we hold on to is that we keep the family together. We don't separate the parents and the kids. The parents right there sitting by their child while they're reading aloud and learning. So many studies have shown how important it is to have the parent and child together, learning together. So that's why we do that. And we also try to bring families that might need some extra help into our adult literacy program, because Shelley will tell you all about it, but we have free tutoring for adults and ESL classes, and we find a lot of those people that need those services in the schools when we do our family literacy programs.
And is that year-round or just during the school year?
Just during the school year. Although we do some programs in the summer. And
it's become year-round.
Yeah. There's never a shortage of schools that want to do these programs, and that's great. And we also do a program called Imagination Station, which was actually our very first program that we did with Read to Succeed. We offer that at Franklin Heights Housing here in Murfreesboro, and also at Wary Housing in Smyrna. We're starting that this month, and also at Mid-Cumberland Head Start here in Murfreesboro. And that is once a month all year round, and it's for parents with children that aren't in school yet. So it's the same kind of thing. The parents come, we read a book, they do an activity, and then they take the book home. And again, the families are always together.
Now, Shelley, explain the adult literacy program.
Yeah, so separate from the family literacy, we have an adult literacy program that serves adults in our community that are either native English speakers that have never learned how to read, or non-native English speakers that need to learn English. So we have a one-on-one tutoring program where you're working just one-on-one, a tutor, a volunteer tutor, and a learner. And we also have English as a second language classes. So we use volunteers to run all of that, and we serve people all over the county. And right now we have about 40 pairs that are meeting in our one-on-one tutoring program, and we have about 4 ESL sites that are running through the county, and they meet once or twice a week.
And where is Read to Succeed itself located physically?
Read to Succeed has office space in First Baptist Church that they donate to us, so we're up on the 2nd floor in the education building. So tutor learner pairs meet there. We have a lot of our trainings there. Our one book committee meets there. So it's kind of all of our offices are there. the central hub, but we go to people wherever they need us. Yeah.
How large a staff do you have, Lisa?
We don't have any full-time staff members, but we have currently 5 part-time staff.
5 part, including
And-
yourself.
Right, and we use a lot of interns, and as both Shelley and Sarah, you heard when they were describing, we use a lot of volunteers. And we actually have a volunteer coordinator now, Debbie Mankin, and she is striving to, get that volunteer base even more solid. And, one thing I might go back and mention about what Sarah described with the family literacy and the imagination stations, and the fact that we also find a lot of our adult learners through that is, one of the things that touched me the most when I first started with Read to Succeed is I had a mother come up to me after one of the family literacy nights at one of the schools, and because they had been working with that same book all evening, doing activities and all that, and got to actually take that book home. This was a mother that I think in her way was telling me that she struggled with reading, but she said, I'm going to be able to go home and read this book to my child tonight for the first time. So even if they have poor reading skills, because they've heard it so many times, they can still take that book home, turn those pages, and tell the story, which, very touching.
That's really what it's all
Yeah,
about.
that's what it's all about.
So you need
then
more, excuse me, go ahead.
And then we want to take that and then bring them into our adult literacy program, and then whatever their need is, whether it's financial literacy or technology, or whether they're working on getting a new job and they need to work on interviewing skills and resumes, whatever their need is, we want to help them through that adult literacy one-on-one. It's not a classroom setting, it's one-on-one, whatever they specifically need to work on.
So you need and can use a number of volunteers throughout the year then?
Yes, and a lot of what we describe sounds very complicated, but we have training in place for all of these volunteers. And I tell people all the time, we have volunteer opportunities for whether you want to volunteer 2 hours a day, 2 hours a week, 2 hours a month, or 2 hours a year. We can put you to work, whether it's feeding meals and giving away books at our family literacy events, whether it's something more complicated like our tutoring or our ESL instructors. There is something for everybody to do.
Okay, very good. What's the greatest challenge that you run into in, doing the family literacy?
Well, the biggest challenge is probably that we wish we could serve every single school that wants the program, because there's only so many volunteers and so many of us and so much funding. So
Right back to the first
Yes.
point you were making earlier.
So we try to serve new schools. We try to, always keep ourselves, rotating, so we're, not serving the same school over and over. But we want, in an ideal world, we'd be at every single school,
Sure.
every single semester, giving them
Both
this
county
program.
and city systems, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, in a perfect world, we would be. But
About how many schools are you actually in?
well, each year we've served more, and I think this semester we're in 6. And last semester we
I
were
think
in
there's
5.
only there's like a handful, maybe 5 or 6 schools left out there that we haven't been in with a program at
At
some time or
the
another.
other, okay.
Yeah.
We're-
Not necessarily in all of them all the time.
Not, right. We try to make sure that, like Sarah said, that we are spreading it around as much as we can. And we have grown the program significantly through grants and through some other ways of partnerships so that we can serve more schools every single semester.
Shelley, tell us some of the success stories you've enjoyed, like the mother that Lisa mentioned earlier.
Yeah, well, there are a ton. It's definitely the best part of my job, seeing people succeed. We have had dozens and dozens of folks earn a GED, and that's always great because that really moves them on to the next level. We've had folks buy a home because they felt more confident in their reading skills, that they could go through the process of applying for a mortgage and doing all the real estate kind of stuff. We had a gentleman recently that took the ACT because he was younger. He passed the ACT and went and enrolled at MTSU. So he's now in his 2nd year at MTSU, and he's doing just great. He's got straight A's, really enjoying school there.
And English wasn't his first language,
right.
if I remember correctly.
Yes.
That was the situation he was faced with. He was really struggling.
Yeah, he was a new immigrant from Mexico, and so he
An ESL student, I guess, if you will.
he was, yeah, and so he's now at MTSU and doing great. So we've had a lot of people like that, and you know, some of the stories are a little bit simpler. I met a gentleman the other day that had a little booklet from his church, and that was the lesson that they used every week. And so he worked on that with his tutor, and then one week he did the lesson, and he'd never done the lesson before because he'd never felt confident to read in the group setting. But they worked on it for several weeks, and so he did. And you know, that to me is a simple thing, but it's huge for that person's life and their self-esteem and their ability to contribute to our society. So yeah, there's hundreds of those happy little stories.
Would there be an average age for adult learners?
Oh gosh, we take people that are 18. They have to be 18 or over.
I see.
But our oldest learner was 92. And I think she's still in our program. I need to follow up with her and make sure her and her tutor are still doing all right. But yeah, they
Couldn't read or didn't read well, or?
She just wanted to be able to enjoy reading more. So she was probably at like a 6th or 7th grade reading level, but wanted to be able to sit at home and read a book like
Isn't
The
that
Fault in Our
wonderful?
Stars. Yeah. So yeah. So everybody's different that comes into our door. They all have a different goal. Some need more intensive one-on-one tutoring, like a GED student would need a more intensive tutor. But some folks just want to read a book and sit back and be able to enjoy it and understand it. So it kind of ranges the whole spectrum.
I ran into a gentleman when I was speaking at one of our businesses in Rutherford County that was well into his 60s. And you know, there's a lot of, it takes a lot of courage for someone to come up and explain their need for our services. And he walked up to me after the room had kind of cleared, and he said, you know, I've started programs 2 or 3 times, and I always let something get in the way. It was the kids, or it was, you know, trying to work more overtime or whatever. He said, you know, I'm going to do this. This time, you know, I'm going to make this happen. So, you know, we know there's still a lot of folks out there that maybe have tried something in the past and it hasn't worked, but, you know, we hope that they'll still come to us and let us try to help them.
Tell me about funding. You mentioned funding earlier and your needs during the course of a year.
Well, we do one fundraiser a year, and that's our Celebrity Spelling Bee, which always comes up in November. We've got it tentatively scheduled for November 12th of this year. And that's our primary fundraiser. And beyond that, we are all busy all the time looking for things that come available. And we have, you know, several companies like Dollar General and General Mills and things like that have helped us many years with our programs. And then, you know, others that, you know, are new every year. And we're always very appreciative of everything that we get, but like Sarah was saying before, it's never enough for everything that we would like to do. So, you know, we're just always looking for, you know, all those new opportunities to get the funds to help the people we serve.
What is your budget approximately?
Our current budget is around $170,000, which really usually blows people's mind when they hear it, and that includes, you know, salary and all of our in-kind donations as well. So we served, what were our numbers, in like 30,000 people last year with that small of a budget, which we're very proud of. And one of our biggest events, which boosts that number quite a bit, is our Reading in the Schools Day event that most people know us for. If they don't know us for anything else, they know Reading in the Schools Day every September, and all that goes on that day and how much that's expanded. And Shelley didn't mention it, but she even has had some situations where some of her learners that have worked with our tutors have then turned around and wanted to go and read at Reading in the Schools Day and be able to share their story with the children. Which it's those kind of things that just, you know, really mean a lot to us, because they really want to give back. After they've been helped, they want to give back.
And that's where volunteers come into the schools and read to the classes,
Right.
correct?
Exactly.
This
Exactly.
is,
we read to every. I'll let you explain it, Sarah, since it's been your event.
We bring about a little over 1,000 volunteers into the schools each year, city and county and private schools. I think last year it was about 23,000 students that were read to, and that's just an estimate. It could be much more. So basically, every single school participates, and we have volunteer readers that sign up through us or sign up through the school, and it's just a day that we choose in September. A lot of the schools get really into it, and they decorate. They have storybook characters walking around, and we really just ask that the school gives 20, 30 minutes just dedicated to reading. And we also, the program was initiated because we wanted to bring the community into the schools, to really bring them into the schools and see their schools, and bring parents into their child's classroom to read aloud. And we've all been to
I believe
dozens
you've participated
and dozens.
several times
Oh,
yourself.
yeah, yeah. It's just the greatest feeling, and it's
Always
the greatest
enjoy
thing
it.
to see. It's really great. My favorite thing about Reading in the Schools Day and about family literacy programs really is just seeing that kids can get that excited about reading, because in this day and age, why we do Unplug and Read, books don't really, aren't as exciting as like an iPod. But when you go to Reading in the Schools Day, you would never know that.
Right.
They're
Those
so
kids
excited.
it leaves a really big impression on them that they see the people that they look up to, the mayor, and a lot of our leaders in Murfreesboro coming into their school and giving of their time to read to their classroom. And our goal is just that every child is read to in the classroom on those days. But like Sarah said, a lot of the schools are making this an all-day long event, and there's everything from parades to pajama parties to everything else associated with it, and they get really excited about reading.
This is in September each year?
It's in September each year, and again, there's always a sign-up link on our website where you can sign up to volunteer for a particular school if you're interested in going to read at your child's school or your grandchild's school or just any school. You can sign up at the link, and it's usually, we usually put it out there in about June or July. It's up several months before the event.
I know I just read on Dr. Seuss's birthday. It was very similar.
Yeah, for the
Reading
Seuss
in the
celebration.
schools,
Yeah.
Give
Read
us your
across the-
website, so if anybody watching would like to sign in.
Sure. It's www.readtosucceed.org.
All right. www.readtosucceed.org.
Right.
Now, you mentioned the annual celebrity spelling bee. Tell us more about that. You just had your fifth one, I believe? Or sixth.
Maybe
Maybe
it was our sixth, because the fifth was the
All-Star.
All-Star bee.
That's
We just
right.
did our
That's
sixth.
correct.
So yes, we have, it's a very informal, casual kind of fundraiser where we have a lot of fun. There's always a lot of laughs. We'll have a dinner right before, and then, we just go out into the community and ask people to spell for us that are, leaders again in the community that are willing. Our motto has always been, if the mayor is willing to potentially embarrass himself on stage, in a spelling bee, then literacy must be really important, and it is. And we also, that reminds me, we have coming up this month our sixth grade spelling bee, which is almost the exact opposite of our, other than in being, kind of on the same format. It's a very serious spelling bee. These children have won their school bees, and then they come to Patterson Park. It's going to be on April the 20th at 9 a.m. We would love to have people come out and support these kids. They work very, very hard for this bee, and we're very proud. Most of the years, the winner of our Read to Bee has gone on to either win or be runner-up in the 7th and 8th grade county bee. So it's a good practice for that as well, and a very interesting event. And then at our celebrity spelling bee in September, our fundraiser, we use the same Scripps Howard format, but we we have, it's lighthearted. There's always a few jokes. There's some kind of behind the scenes competition going on. And this year our winner was Don Clayton from Ingram Content Group, and the runner-up was Dan Whittle. And both of those gentlemen are now on our board of directors, and just about every board meeting I'm expecting there's going to be a little spell off going on. So yeah, there seems to have been so far. So But it's a really fun night.
And you had the former commissioner of corrections for the state to win the year before, I believe.
Gail, she won the
Who was a
All-Star.
native
Yeah,
Murfreesboro.
well, it was Kristen Demas the
Kristen
year that we
Demas
did the
won
All-Star
All-Star.
beat,
Excuse me,
and
the
then
year before
she
that,
was
I'm
the year
sorry.
before that. That's correct.
So
Yeah,
you've had a lot of
yeah.
participation in that.
Oh, we
then.
have, we have.
It's become a really popular event. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
If you had one wish of something that you need or don't have for Read to Succeed, other than more money and more funding, what would it be, each of you? Start with Sarah.
I mean, books, nice new books, because we give away books at every single one of our family literacy program. And sometimes they're new books, sometimes they're used books that have been, gathered for us. But you have no idea how excited these kids are to get to take these books home for free. So we always, we give away hundreds of books a month when we're doing our programs. We give them away by the box full. So we always need nice books. for
Ingram
kids
has
and
been one
adults.
of your sources, right? as
Ingram
well
has
as
been
others?
great for one book. They've given us the books for our book
They do the one
crossing.
book,
and
huh?
they've
A
made
lot
that
of
possible.
schools and businesses will have book drives and bring us books. Children will have birthday parties. Instead of getting gifts, we'll have, books donated and they'll bring them
a few
to us. There's we get them, like Sarah said, in small quantities sometimes and in large quantities. Barnes and Nobles has
That's
donated
good.
books to us, so we get a lot of help with our books.
Shelley, if you had that one wish, what would it be?
Gosh,
what
that's a
this is
hard
gonna be.
question. I don't think so.
know.
I think if I could have one wish with Read to Succeed, it would be more time for our volunteers and our learners. We're all so busy and we all have so much going on, but truly our volunteers get so much out of being a tutor and our learners get so much out of being tutored, but there's just never enough time in any given week or day to meet and sit down and to plan a lesson or to study, depending on if you're the tutor or the learner. So, I mean, my wish for them is always just that they would have plenty of time to study and be together and, not have to rush through a lesson, to get to know each other, to enjoy their time together, and to really see progress. That no life demand would get in the way of learning.
And we may be able to get you more books and more money. I'm not sure about the time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you
I
know,
understand
to get
what
more
you're saying.
time.
But so maybe
Yeah.
more volunteers could
Sure,
provide
we
more
understand.
time for our
That gives you the
tutors.
time.
Yeah.
Lisa,
Yeah,
finally then, what would
she
your
stole my
one wish be?
volunteers there a little bit on the end, so I'm going to say what I thought she was going to say.
Okay.
And our dream and our long-term goal is, so that we can grow our programs even more, is to eventually have our own space. We really would love to be more accessible to the people that we serve, and let them be able to come right in and have more tutor learner spaces for them to work. And we're very, very happy to have what we have, but to do a lot of the things that we have in mind as far as our goals, that's going to be a real priority over the next few years.
And I can empathize with all of your wishes, and that one, the latter one particularly, I think would be a real essential item to give you a sort of a storefront visibility where
Exactly.
you can attract more and more people.
Yeah.
Well, good. Thank you for what you do. This is a wonderful program. Thanks to the Jennings-Jones Foundation
Yes,
for helping
for
it
all
get
of their
started.
support. Yes.
And we just hope more and more people will learn to read or read better, and will read more books and be better informed, be better prepared to get the job that they want, to be able to relate with their family, just to be able to enjoy life.
Very
Thank you
much.
so much for
Thank you for
Read to
having
Succeed.
us. We appreciate you.
One last question. Who is the chair of your board now?
The chair of our board is Scott Walker.
It's Scott Walker of
Yes.
WGNS Radio.
Yes.
Right, very
Yes.
good.
Yes.
We've enjoyed having Lisa Mitchell, Executive Director of Read to Succeed, Sarah Porterfield, the Family Literacy Director, and Shelley Stanley, the Adult Literacy Director for Read to Succeed. That website address again?
readtosucceed.org.
readtosucceed.org. Thank you for joining us as we've enjoyed having as our visitors the ladies from Read to Succeed, a part of Murfreesboro Storytellers.